Good morning. Welcome to Flint City Church, where we speak Jesus, we serve Flint, and we obey the King. This morning we are 1 Kings chapter 12. As we go into the Word this morning, just so you know where we're going, let me give you a roadmap of where we're headed. Today we are going to look at two different perspectives of the same story. First, we'll look at the human perspective. What's the earthly point of view of what's going on? And then we'll look at the heavenly perspective, the divine point of view. And this story has both an earthly and a heavenly way to view the thing. Now, on the earthly side, we're going to be talking about wisdom. Rehoboam is the son of Solomon. Solomon was the wisest person who ever lived. And Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, is an unwise person. And we're going to see how living an unwise life is so detrimental. It's bad. Living a wise life, you know what it is? If you choose to be wise, if you choose to be smart, if you choose to do the right thing, the wise thing, not the right thing, the wise thing, you save yourself from a lot of trouble, a lot of suffering, a lot of damage. Will you still suffer if you're wise? Yes. But when you are wise, the suffering you go through is what is common to all people. The suffering you go through is not done by your own hand. When you live an unwise lifestyle, a lot of the pain we experience because we have been dumb. We have a saying, I used to hear this all the time from one of my mentors: if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. And we laugh at it, but it's true. If you're going to be unwise, your life is going to have trouble. If I spend my rent money going to the casino, if I promise my spouse I'll be home for dinner, and instead I go out with the boys to eat Buffalo Wild Wings without telling them, it's going to cause trouble for our lives. So the earthly perspective is going to be wisdom, but then we have the heavenly perspective, and I want to deal with both today. So in 1 Kings 12, here is the tale we should look at from two different points of view. From two different points of view. First, Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel had come to Shechem to make him king. So what's going on? Rehoboam, son of Solomon. Solomon has died. Rehoboam is in line to become the next king of Israel. Solomon ruled for 40 years, and so he goes to the northern city of Shechem, and a bunch of noblemen come together to consider, should this guy be our king or not? And the reason Rehoboam goes to the north is because these 10 northern tribes have always been kind of like iffy on the Davidic line. Like, are we really with David? Are we with his kids? They followed Solomon, and now the question is, will we follow Solomon's boy Rehoboam? So they're coming to the north to either vote yes or no for this guy's kingship. Verse 2. And as soon as Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, heard it, for he was still in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon, then Jeroboam returned from Egypt, and they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the assembly of Israel came and spoke to Rehoboam. So there's this crowd of people who have come to the king to either basically make him king or pull him down. And in the crowd of people, amongst the noblemen and leaders, there's this guy named Jeroboam, son of Nebat. And this dude's the opposition. This is the dude who's running against Rehoboam. This is the dude who wants Rehoboam dead in the ground. If Rehoboam's Republican, Jeroboam is the Democrat. You hear what I'm saying? This is the opposition leader, and he's in the stinking crowd. That's tough. It's a tough thing. They come to the king, and they say to Rehoboam, your father made our yoke heavy. Now therefore lighten the hard service of your father and his heavy yoke on us, and we will serve you. They say, Rehoboam, your dad put a heavy yoke on us. If you lighten it, we'll be with you. What are they talking about? I'll tell you what they're talking about. Solomon had put mad taxes on his people. See, Solomon built a temple for the Lord and built a palace for himself. And this cost a lot of money. So you know what he did? He taxed the people of Israel. And he taxed them hard. He built two, colossally beautiful, ornate structures. And he built it on the backs of the people. He required money to do this, money for workers, money for gold and for jewels. And so he taxed the people hard. And they said, your dad taxed the crap out of us. If you lower the taxes a little bit, we're with you. We're with you. We will go with you if you lower these taxes. And Rehoboam says, he said to them, go away for 3 days, then come again to me. So the people went away. This is the only wise thing Rehoboam does. This is a very good and wise thing to do. When someone asks you a big question, a question that can have big consequences for your life, taking some time to think about it is a wise decision. If I have big things in my life coming up, I'll often say, give me a week to pray about it. Give me some time to think about it, because I want to think and pray and see, what do I want to do? Because in the moment, I'm not always ready to go boom, boom, boom. And usually when I do go boom, 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 I make the wrong decision. So I often will ask for time. Rehoboam asked for 3 days to seek some counsel. This is a very, very wise thing to do. When you come up against a big decision in your life, take some time to think, take some time to pray, and I would say take some time to receive counsel. There is safety in a multitude of counselors. So he goes to the counselors. First, verse 6. Then King Rehoboam took counsel with the old men who had stood before Solomon his father while he was yet alive, saying, how do you advise me to answer this people? Rehoboam goes to his dad's counselors. Solomon was the king of Israel for 40 years. These counselors have been through it. These are gray-haired people who have seen some highs, they've seen some lows. They've seen wartime, they've seen peacetime. They've been around the block. How do you advise me, old men? What should I do? They said to him, if you will be a servant to this people today and serve them and speak good words to them when you answer them, then they will be your servants forever. The old men say, Rehoboam, what they're asking is not a bad thing. If you give them this little bit right now, they'll be with you. They'll be with you forever. If you give them this, they will be your loyal subjects, and you will be the king of all 12 tribes of Israel. It's a good move. Give them what they ask for. Take taxes from 9, go down to 6. Lower the taxes, and they will love you. They'll love you. And he says, verse 8, but he abandoned the counsel that the old men gave him and took counsel with the young men who had grown up with him and stood before him. And he said to them, what do you advise that we answer this people who have said to me, lighten the yoke your father put on us? And the young men who had grown up with him said to him, thus shall you speak to the people who said to you, your father made our yoke heavy, but you lighten it for us. Thus shall you say to them, my little finger is thicker than my father's thighs. And now, whereas my father laid on you a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father whipped you with whips, but I will whip you with scorpions. So Rehoboam has gone to the old men, his father's counselors. Now he goes to his boys, the guys he grew up with, his crew. What do you guys say I should do? They said, man, forget these guys. They're going to tell you, the king, how to run things? Forget that. You show them you're big, bad, and tough. You know what? You tell them. They thought they were taxed bad before. They ain't never seen bad taxes. You tell them that your little finger is thicker than your father's waist. You tell them, my father whipped you with whips, but I will whip you with scorpions. A free advertisement for you. It's never good to say to somebody, you think that's bad, wait till you get a load of me. Not the best move. But Rehoboam has these two people to listen to. Two people listen to him. What does he do? What does he do? So Jeroboam, all the people came to Rehoboam the third day, as the king had said. The king answered the people harshly. And forsaking the counsel the old man had given him, he spoke to them according to the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, but I will add to your yoke. My father whipped you with whips, but I will whip you with scorpions. He takes the advice of his young boys, and he looks at that crowd, and he tells them, I'm going to tax you more, and you're going to like it. What can we learn from the heavenly point of view from this story? Very simply, there's a proverb that Solomon wrote that can really give us great wisdom on how to live our lives from this story right here. Rehoboam had two groups of people telling two different things, and he went with his younger friends instead of the older people in his community. Why is that? In Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 6, we find this piece of wisdom written down by Solomon, father of Rehoboam. 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, and the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. The kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Where do we get our wisdom? When we come to a crossroads, who do we talk to find good counsel? Scripture tells us, Solomon tried to tell his son and tell anyone who would listen. He tells us today, he tells us, it is better to receive wounds from a friend than kisses from an enemy. When seeking wisdom, a true friend is someone who will tell us what we need to hear, not just what we want to hear. Do you hear this? When we all have people we can go to in our lives who will tell us what we want to hear, who will give us a pass, who will tell us, man, you did all right, they're all wrong, you do what you want, do what makes you happy, and will tell us, they will smile at us, they will pat us in the back as we walk our lives to destruction. That's the kisses of an enemy. If an enemy kisses you, their intention is to deceive you. They're telling you what you want to hear because they have no actual care for how your life turns out. When you seek out counsel, don't go to people who are just going to tell you what you want to hear, who are just going to just pile on the affirmation. You go to someone who has the courage, who loves you enough to tell you something hard. I see it on social media all the time. People will ask for counsel on social media. And you'll see people just pile on saying, oh man, you go, you do you. I'm like, none of these people are your friends. They don't care. They don't know you. They don't care for you. They don't be there when you're sitting homeless. They don't be there when your life falls down. You see all these affirmative words to you and don't tell you the one thing you need to hear. When I was in college, I had a good friend of mine. He's still a good friend. Now, when I was in school, I talked a big game when I was in college. I talked a really big game. I was always mouthing off about my next great adventure, what I was going to do for God. I had this new idea. My new idea in college was, I'm going to walk to Guatemala. I'm going to hitchhike to Guatemala and preach Jesus the whole way. I was talking all this big crap, how during the summer I was going to leave Chicago, hitchhike through America, hitchhike down through Mexico, get to Guatemala, and preach Jesus the whole time. It was going to be an incredible story, an incredible adventure. Talking all this trash to anyone who will listen. And one day, we're in my room, which is me and my good friend, one of my best friends. I'm talking about the trip, what states I'll go through. And he just goes, Ernesto, enough. I'm like, what? He goes, enough. I'm like, there's no one around, just me and him. He just goes, Ernesto, you always talk all this big stuff, what you're going to do, and you never do any of it. And I'm just tired of hearing you talk and never act. And he walked out of the room. It floored me. I was a young man, 19 years old, but young in a lot of ways. And I felt very angry. How dare you say that to me? Who do you think you are? To call me out? I was furious. Then I thought about it. And the haunting realization came to me that he was right. I talked such a big game all the time, but what I was going to do for God, and I was doing nothing for God in this moment in my life. I was all talk and no action. And my buddy who cared for me told me so. To my face, not about me, not gossip anybody else. When no one else is around, he talked to me man to man, friend to friend, person to person. And it changed my life. It changed my life. I realized for me personally, I was saying all these big things, hoping people would like me for it. I was trying to talk this big game so people would think I was a great man and like me, affirm me. I realized I had really deep insecurities. And it was the beginning for me of a great healing and learning how to find my identity in the Lord and the Lord alone. That friend was willing to wound me for my benefit. For my benefit. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Those old men told Rehoboam, listen, Rehoboam, we know you're young. We know you want to be the big shot. But listen, if you give these guys an inch, if you hear their hearts right now and you meet them and lower their taxes, they'll love you forever, man. Now, you don't want to hear that. Lower taxes, have less money for the government. But they gave him good counsel. They gave him wise counsel. You lose a little bit of income, but you gain the affection and the loyalty of the northern 10 tribes of Israel. You gain the kingdom. Then you have the young punks. The guys he grew up with in the palace. Probably all rich kids, right? And they're like, you know what, Rehoboam, this is our time. We wait for these old men to die off. It's our time to rule. Raise those taxes. Let's have a party every night in the palace. It's our time to eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. You raise taxes so we can all have a party like it's 19, whatever Prince said it was. And he listened to them because they stroked his ego. They told him what he wanted to hear, and he listened to them. And those are the kisses of the enemy. Also in college, there was a girl who began developing an eating disorder. She just didn't eat. And her friends watched as her body began deteriorating from lack of nutrition. And they knew what was happening. The friends watched and they said, what do we do? Do we confront her? Do we talk to her? And they all truly cared about her. I'm not saying they're bad people. They decided the best thing to do was keep affirming her, to tell her she looked nice, you're doing great, oh, we're for you. And no one ever confronted her on it and said, honey, sister in Christ, you need to get help. One day she was going to class and she passed out. They brought her to the hospital. And she was so far gone with the eating disorder. Her body had begun to eat its own organs and tissue, and they couldn't reverse it. And she died. And all those friends were like, they felt the guilt and the weight of never having tried to speak, never having interjected for the sake of their loved one. This is a difficult thing to know how to do and when to do it. But the point I'm making is this. If all your friends are just yes people, if all your friends, if all they do is tell you every idea you have is awesome, they're not good friends. Sometimes a true friend, a true mentor, a true spiritual guide will look you in the eyes and tell you, do not do this thing. Run away. In my life as a minister, there have been times in my life, especially my young ministry, where I wouldn't look people in the eye and tell them they were wrong. And I carry the guilt of not doing that. I let people I loved walk into destruction because I was too afraid to look in the eye and love them and tell them, this thing you're doing is going to destroy you. It's going to hurt you and everybody you love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. The kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Being told what you want to hear all the time is not going to help you grow. It's not going to help you overcome. It's not going to help you move to the next level of your life. When you seek wisdom, don't just go to people who will tell you what you want to hear. Go to people who will give you wise knowledge, who will tell you good things, who have been further than you, who are smarter than you. Go to people who you trust, who you admire, their godliness and their holiness. Go to these people and ask them. And don't be mad when they give you their opinion. If you're just looking for someone to rubber stamp your life, don't go to someone real. If all you want are kisses from an enemy, keep on calling the boys or the girls. Keep on calling your peers who just affirm you even though the things you're doing are destroying your life. That's wisdom. When you come to a crossroads in your life, I encourage you, take some time, seek some counsel, but seek wise counsel. Don't just go to the people who will tell you what you want to hear, because that's not what you need to hear. You want good words in your mind. You want good data available to you to make the best decision possible. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. That's the earthly perspective. What about the heavenly perspective? See, what Rehoboam does here, Rehoboam listens to the young people. He tells the people, I'm going to whip you with scorpions. And they are like, you know what? We're not with you. They say to Rehoboam, what inheritance do we have in David? And these 10 tribes, they rebel. And Israel experiences a civil war. There's going to be 10 tribes in the north called Israel and 2 tribes in the south called Judah, and Israel will never again be united. It's going to be 2 kingdoms until both capitals fall into ruin. The north and the south. All this takes place because of the lack of wisdom of Rehoboam. Rehoboam the unwise, who takes the counsel of his buddies instead of the wise old men of his kingdom, he thrusts his kingdom into chaos and civil war. His lack of wisdom brings destruction for so many people. But there is a divine perspective. Listen to this. Verse 15. So the king did not listen to the people, for it was a turn of affairs brought about by the Lord, that he might fulfill his word, which the Lord spoke by Ahijah the Shilonite to Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Here's the thing. If you lived in this time, if you were one of those old counselors of Solomon watching Rehoboam tear the kingdom apart, you must have thought to yourself, this idiot has just plunged our nation into civil war. He's broken the kingdom. What a moron. He has hurt God's kingdom irreparably. He has ruined God's plan for Israel. But here's the thing. Rehoboam, this free man who did what he wanted to do, he brought about what God intended. Even in this chaos, even through the suffering that was to come, God was still in control. God intended, because of Solomon's great sin of building temples to foreign gods, God had said, I'm taking away 10 of the tribes from David for the sin of his son Solomon, but I will leave David's ancestors, Judah and Benjamin. That was God's intention. In the moment, it looked like chaos. It looked like what's going to happen next? It looks like the world is off its stinking axis. But the whole time, God's hand is still on the wheel. God is still leading creation toward his view, his idea, his plan for history. God is still leading reality to where he wants it to go because God is in control. Even in the midst of this chaotic civil war, God is still on the throne. God is still in control. And I want to end by saying this. A lot of us in this room have been unwise. A lot of you watching online have been unwise. You've made decisions in your life that have hurt you. Your credit cards, you've jacked them up paying your bills. You bought cars you couldn't afford. You dated people you know you shouldn't have dated. You've done things that have paused or set your life back years. Some of you are recovering addicts, and you've went and flirted with the thing that you know has the power to destroy you. Many of us have been very unwise in this room, and we wonder, have I ruined what God has for my life? Have I hurt God's plan by being less than the man or woman I'm supposed to be? I want to tell you very simply this. We are responsible for what we do, and we are held accountable for the lives we live. We are responsible for the right and the wrong we do in this life. We will give an account. But, and thanks be to God, that our stupidity cannot derail God's plan for the world. Somehow, God can even work through our stupidity to bring his eternal purposes to fruition. God is moving. You and I are not going to stop that. Rehoboam couldn't stop that. God had a purpose, and he's bringing his purpose to reality. I want to tell you, whatever you may have made decisions that have left your life in a bad spot. That may be true. But know that you are not outside of God's hand. You are not outside of God's plan or his reach. You're not outside of God's reach. What God is doing is still going to come to fruition. It's not too late. God is still in control, even now. And I think this to give you hope. Our God has not lost control of the world. He is still bringing forward what he wants the truth to be, what he wants reality to be. So I encourage you with these words. Our God is in control. Even when we're not, he is. I end by saying this. I'll tell you this story. When I was a pastor at the Rock Church of Fenton, I was driving to church one day. It's an old church off Linden Road. It's the middle of winter, and my wife is like 8 months pregnant. And we're driving real slow. I'm in this big old Cadillac, man. This was like a 1989 Cadillac. This thing was a boat. I loved that car. But I got pulled over all the time in that car. Because that car, that car basically said, I'm a drug dealer. So I literally, one of my youth kids gave me pink fuzzy dice that were in the front of this car. And I loved this Cadillac. White caddy, red interior. We're driving to the church. I'm going real slow because my wife's 8 months pregnant. We pull, the driveway's right up here, so we're pulling through the driveway. I'm going slow, and I put my brakes down to stop, and I hit ice in that exact moment. And the car just begins to go into the skid, and we're starting to slide. And it's scary. We're sliding uncontrollably in our car. My wife's 8 months pregnant. I look over, and I see the look of fear on her face. And at that moment, I knew I had no control. I had no control over this car. I was going a little too fast. I hit that ice, and I had nothing I could do. So you know what I did? Now listen, don't do this. I took my hands off the wheel. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to turn. I don't know how to overcorrect. I just let go of the wheel. I let go of the wheel and I turn, look at Angie, and I put one hand on her shoulder and one hand on her pregnant belly, and I say, darling, look at me. She looks at me, and worse, like, I can see the window behind her that the world is spinning. I'm like, Angie. I'm like looking at her sideways, like, it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. And we go off the road into a big ditch and crash. Boom! And I'm holding her. We crash. Boom! And she's okay. And I look at her. I'm like, see? We're fine. And she burst into tears. I tell that story for this purpose. I didn't know what to do. The car was spinning through the ice. I didn't know what's going to happen. I felt out of control. But all I did know, even in that moment, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. But I trust we're in God's hand, and He's got us. And He had us, and our baby was born a month later, healthy and strong, and we're grateful for that. So I just want to say, God is in control. Even when it feels like our life is out of control, God is in control. Even when we're unwise, God is in control. Even when our leaders are unwise, God is in control. So I'm going to say to you, be wise and do not fear, for our God is greater than our unwise leaders, both local and far away. God bless you. May your day, I say to you, grace and peace. See you guys later. Let me pray for you, then we'll go. Father in heaven, I thank you so much for your word that is true. For those hearing this message this day, Lord, speak to them. Let these words be a source of life to those who are hearing it. May we be a wise people who seek your will and your way in this world, because your way and your will is better than our own. And in the midst of our seeking, in the midst of our searching, in the midst of our striving, let us always remember that even when we come up short, your hand is always on the wheel. Lord, this world is never out of your control. You are bringing history to where you want it to go. And for this, we are grateful. You are the great God. You rule well, and you're bringing all of reality to the end of a story. And we wait for that beautiful end when your Son will return and make all things new. In Christ's name we ask all these things. Amen.